What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Saturday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conium, and I do apologize for the shorter video yesterday. Daughter was home from daycare and all that. Fun day of daddy daycare. She's feeling better today. We've got a good Saturday coming up, and completely flat day yesterday. Columbus ended up winning that game, so we didn't get the Islanders on the puck line, but Arizona plus 2.5. I never understood that bet. That was one that immediately popped out as like plus 2.5. That doesn't make any sense. And they did lose, but they only lost by 2, which is fine. So a completely flat, even 1-1 day. Stayed away from March Madness, and thank goodness we did. There are no longer any number 1 seeds left in the tournament. All of my futures are gone. I had Houston, UCLA, Alabama, and Purdue in my Final Four, and hoping that all those teams would go to the finals and could play off that. Those are gone. Those are out the window. Don't know if I'm going to go back to betting any March Madness, and might just ride out the tournament and just enjoy it, because this is a tough tournament, and it's definitely out of my forte, so maybe we'll stay away from that, but we'll see. Today, we've got 2 NHL bets and an MLS bet. I just want to take a second. If you enjoy these videos, hit the subscribe button, tell one friend about it as well, so we can grow this community. It would be appreciated. Going to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. Should be an interesting matchup. Toronto's coming into this 43-19-7. Carolina coming in 46-16-2. At home this season, Carolina's 24-9. On the road, the Leafs are 18-12. Carolina is the favorite in this game. I did just bet Toronto as the underdog in their last game against Florida, and they won 6-2. I am a little bit concerned. Ilya Samsonov is not going to expect it to play tonight because of the birth of his son. Frederik Andersen expected to be a net for Carolina, so it's sort of iffy of who's going to be a net for Toronto. Likely to be Murray. So I just like this total to actually go over 6 goals. We've got this for minus 110. Both teams this season are under teams. You have Toronto at 35-32. You've got Carolina at 37-31. But when I look back lately, especially with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've just scored. There's been 8 goals, 9 goals, 9 goals, 7 goals. And their last 4 games have all gone over the total of not only 6, but 6.5 as well. They did have a 3-2 game against Colorado, but previous to that, there were 7 goals with Buffalo, 11 with Edmonton, 7 with New Jersey, 5 with Vancouver, 3 for Calgary. So Toronto's been playing more over games lately. They're scoring a ton of goals. They're also giving up a lot of goals, especially with Samsonov not in net. Then you look at Carolina. You've got 3 goals, 5, but then 9, 7, 8. You've got a 3, you've got a 4, you've got a 7, you've got a 6. Because I like the push potential here of the 6, this being, obviously a 3-3 game going into overtime would be great, but a 4-2 game is a push. A 5-1 game, I doubt that's going to happen, but that has push potential as well. Over is 4-0 in the Leafs' last 4 games. Over is 6-0-1 in their last 7 versus the Eastern Conference, and over is 4-0 in their last 4 against the Metropolitan. When you look at the Hurricanes, over is 4-1 in their last 5 when their opponent scores 5 or more goals in their previous game, which I found interesting. Toronto is 4-0 in the last 4 meetings. I think if Toronto's going to win this game, they're probably going to have to score 2 to 3 to 4 goals because of their goaltending situation. Home team is 4-1 in their last 5. The Leafs are 6-2 in the last 8 in Carolina. So I just think the way these teams are going to be playing each other, last time out, which was just 8 days ago, Toronto won 5-2, so there were 7 goals there. Previous to that, there was 4 and 5, but then 7. These teams score more goals against each other than you might think. I don't necessarily trust Frederik Andersen, knowing him very well as a Leafs fan, to be able to stop Toronto's offense. And again, you've got the question marks with the Leafs. So I just like the way Toronto's been playing lately. They're running and gunning. They're really going for it. They actually might be playing a little bit ho-hum as we get towards the end of this season as well. Ditto for Carolina. So we might be able to see maybe a little bit more lazy defense, and we'll see. But I expect this team to go over 6, and I like the push potential, minus 110 at DraftKings. Our other NHL bet today is a battle between 2 pretty terrible teams. We've got the Columbus Blue Jackets at the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal comes into this 28-38-4, Columbus 23-41-6. Columbus is terrible on the road, 9-21-5. Montreal at home, not great, but better, 15-17-1. You're able to get the Montreal Canadiens here at minus 115 at BetMGM. Shop around for this because this line is going to move, but I made this bet last night at 10:54 p.m. for the Montreal Canadiens on the money line at just minus 115. Look, Columbus just played last night. It was an overtime game. We bet on it. We bet on the Islanders to win by 2. Columbus won 5-4, but that was an overtime. They just played last night. Previous to that, an overtime game, a 7-6 overtime win against Washington. Columbus has actually won 2 straight games, and this is a team that doesn't want to keep winning games because they want Connor Bedard. The Montreal Canadiens lost 3 of their last 4. They're coming off a 4-2 win against Boston. The likelihood of them getting someone like Bedard is much lower because of just where they are in the standings. They're not in that bottom 3-4 group range. So I think the Canadiens, it's also Saturday night. It's hockey night in Canada. It's at the Bell Center, a 7 p.m. puck drop, at the Bell Center in Montreal on a Saturday night. I think Montreal's just going to have a little bit more. They like to give their fans, I think, a little bit something. They're not the type of squad that's going to go out and just completely lay an egg in front of the Montreal crowd. It doesn't go over well, especially in one of the original 6 cities. Their goaltending in net tonight, Allen, 14, 24, and 2. Save percentage isn't great. But then you've got Merzlikins on the other side for Columbus, who's 7, 17, and 2, with a GAA over 4, a save percentage under 8-9. I think the Montreal Canadiens can win this game. The last time these two teams played against each other, Montreal was a 3-1 win, and that was November of this year. They've kind of split. Columbus has won a few, Montreal has won a few. But again, you look at Columbus just playing last night, probably tired legs. They're in the midst of a road trip now. I think they might be able to get caught a little bit tired. Give me the Montreal Canadiens on the money line, minus 115 at BetMGM. And our last bet of the day, we move to MLS. And once again, of course, I've got a Toronto FC bet. I'm going to take Toronto FC for either to win or to draw. We've got that for minus 120 as they take on San Jose tonight. It's a 10:30 kickoff start in San Jose. So San Jose is unbeaten in its last 5 home games against Toronto. The last victory by Toronto came in May 2010. So you might say, well, San Jose is probably going to win this game. The Earthquakes have also won both of their home matches this season with wins over Vancouver and Colorado. But I don't think that's necessarily going to tell the whole story here. Toronto FC also ended their 9-game winless streak that dated back to last season. They had a 2-1 win against Inter Miami last Saturday at BMO Field. They looked great. They looked much better. Even without Insigne, who I don't even know if he's going to play again, and I don't really care, to be honest. It was also their first shutout in their last 10 games. They played a great game. San Jose is coming off a 3-0 loss in St. Louis last Saturday. So they're coming off a loss there. And for Toronto, Fernando Bernardeschi has been great. I love this guy, man. He's come over. He had 2 assists for Toronto in the win over Miami. It's his first MLS game with having multiple assists this year, and he's just been playing really, really well. I think Toronto FC is starting to find their groove a little bit. The last 3 matchups have been a 2-2 draw, a 2-2 draw, and a San Jose 2-1 win. I think both teams score in this game as well. I think that's around minus 150 if you want to get that bet. But when you look at just the conference standings right now, you've got Toronto FC. They're currently 1, 1, and 2. So they've already had 2 draws. They've only got the 1 loss, which is fine. But goals for 6, goals against 5. Teams are scoring on Toronto FC. That's no secret to anybody that's an FC fan. But San Jose, not much different. They're 2-2-0, so they don't have a draw. But they've scored 4 and given up 6. Their goal differential is minus 2. Yes, they're 2-0 at home. Fair enough. And I just think Toronto FC is playing a little bit of a better game. I don't think they're going to win this game, but I do like having the option of a win or a draw. And you're getting that at essentially even money. There's actually a lot of other props I like with that too. I think the over is at 2.5 and 3. If you want the Asian lines, 2.75. I think under is a great bet for that as well. But I just think Toronto FC is getting caught a little bit underappreciated right now. San Jose, because of their 2 home wins, they're expected to keep it rolling, but they're not a very good team, I don't think, necessarily overall. I think Bernardeschi is turning it on for Toronto FC, and they're finding their groove. So give me Toronto FC either with a draw or a win. That's minus 120 at Bet365. There is your Saturday slate. Very excited about this today. Let's run that back. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes to go over 6 for minus 110 at DraftKings. We've got the Montreal Canadiens on the money line, minus 115 at BetMGM. And we've got Toronto FC win or a draw with San Jose for minus 115 at Bet365. Feel free to drop a comment if you're fading or following. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Connie for more picks and props throughout the day. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and audio versions available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy March Madness. Let's talk sports.